Today is Tuesday, November 26, 2024. Welcome back, everyone, to Weather on the Go. Come on in, and we're going to be going over the weather pattern over the next couple of weeks, going into the second week of December, as we have multiple waves of Arctic air that'll be moving in from Canada across the United States, and a couple of chances at a snowstorm across the United States. We're going to be diving into all the details that you need to know, so make sure to subscribe to the channel for the latest weather information, and also turn on the post notification bell so you are notified when my videos are posted in the future. And I hope you would come back and join me again for future weather forecast updates. Like the video, give it a thumbs up down below. I cannot stress that enough. Very important to press the like button. Also, leave any comments, questions, concerns below. Definitely get to those after the video. Let's look at our low temperatures we woke up to this Tuesday morning, and notice the freezing line all the way south here into North Texas, into Oklahoma and Arkansas here this morning, waking up to 42 in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, 38 in Little Rock, and 42 also over in the Music City of Nashville as well. And where's this cold air coming from? Well, the origin point of the cold air is up in Western Canada. That's where we have a deeper snowpack, say of around 1 to 2 feet across a widespread zone of Western Canada up into Alaska. And that's where the colder air will be coming from. It'll be draining southeast from Canada into the central and eventually the eastern U.S. And you can start to see that a little bit as we go through today. Here are your high temperatures expected this afternoon. And notice we have teens and 20s up here for highs across the Dakotas and the upper Midwest, say for Minnesota, the Badger State of Wisconsin, and the upper peninsula of Michigan. Very cold, even further north up there with the deeper snowpack, single digits for highs in southern Canada. So we're definitely seeing that this afternoon. Let's walk you through the weather alerts across the country here. We got some interesting things to look at here. Winter storm warnings for the Sierras as we continue to get hammered with very heavy snow. Winter storm warnings, winter weather advisories here in the purples and pinks across Utah, across much of central and western Colorado, as we are anticipating some pretty heavy mountain snow out across the west. And then we have winter weather advisories issued across portions of Maine, Vermont, New Hampshire, and upstate New York, as we are seeing some snowfall up there as well. So let's look at both of these storm systems. Let's look at the one out west first. You can see some pretty heavy snow across the southern Sierras that'll continue to bring a lot of accumulation there. That'll continue across Nevada into Utah and Colorado, and some pesky snow showers across the western U.S. just in general. So the mountainous areas out west definitely seeing their fair share of snow. Looking at the afternoon, we do have some wetter snowflakes mixing in here with the rain across Maine, Vermont, New Hampshire, and maybe some upstate New York snowflakes as well. That'll continue into tonight, and it looks like we'll dry out a lot though across the Northeast as we go after midnight tonight, so we'll be drying out there. Whereas our storm system from the Sierras will shut off the taps there in the Sierras in California tonight. A lot of that snow will be moving into areas of Utah and western Colorado, and that will be adding up as we go through tonight. And it's going to be adding up in a big way. A lot of these areas here, western Colorado into Utah, and even parts of the Sierras could be seeing several feet of snow in the highest of elevations. And if travel takes you out west over the next 24 hours, just be mindful that if you're going up in elevation, put those chains on your tires, because we're going to see several feet of snow here. It's going to be very slick commute as well. We have major, if not extreme, travel inconveniences out west, and a lot of those are in the southern Sierras in California, outside the Salt Lake City area, mainly to the south across central Utah, and then into western and central Colorado as well. Be keeping a very close eye on that. Beyond that, as we go into midweek, this is tomorrow, Wednesday, November 27th, the floodgates will begin to open on the cold Arctic air from Alaska and Western Canada down into the central United States, and eventually by Thanksgiving Day, we see that cold air and below normal temperature regime reach the Texas coast and the Gulf Coast as well, and that really gets amplified as we go into Friday. Look at that. Central Florida, yes, we could see below normal temperatures by the time we get to post-Thanksgiving on Friday, November 29th, and well below normal temperatures with that deep snowpack up here in Western Canada. So let's look here Wednesday afternoon at your high temperatures. This is tomorrow afternoon. The freezing line will be to the north. Not really much change in our temperatures from today into tomorrow. We're still seeing the teens and 20s up across the Dakotas, into Montana, Minnesota, and northern Wisconsin. Still pretty chilly, 40s and 50s there from the Midwest into the Ohio Valley and the Northeast, and then a little bit warmer to the south. Still some 80s hanging around along portions of the I-35 corridor from Dallas down to Waco and down to Houston. Keeping an eye on that. Thursday, Thanksgiving Day. Notice the cold air starts to move in a little bit further to the south. The freezing line approaching Milwaukee, Des Moines, and Omaha. So we'll be in the 30s there. North of that line, we're going to be seeing temperatures in the single digits and teens for highs in the Dakotas, into Montana, Minnesota, and Wisconsin for Thanksgiving. So make sure to bundle up out there if your plans take you outdoors for Thanksgiving. And then Friday afternoon, it gets even colder yet. That freezing line pushes further south toward Indianapolis, towards the St. Louis region, and towards Kansas City. We're going to be in the 30s there, and then single digits for highs across much of the state of North Dakota into northwest Minnesota Friday afternoon. So it's going to get colder in a big way as we progressively move through the week here. And we are keeping an eye on this cold air too, because it's going to be cold enough for snow. But where does this happen? Well, we have a low pressure system, 1,000 millibars or thereabout, across the Sooner State of Oklahoma on Wednesday. This is tomorrow. That'll move east as we go into Thanksgiving Day, deepening to around 987 millibars somewhere across the Mid-Atlantic and up into interior New England. And that's important because as the system continues to crank out toward Nova Scotia, it's going to deepen to a 977 millibars. So dynamic cooling will be a process with this low pressure system, and that could lead to that changeover from rain into snow in some of these areas that some of the models aren't picking up. So let's look here at Wednesday. You can see low pressure system, again, around 1,000 millibars or so. We got the heavy snow back here in Colorado, a thin rain shield or some light drizzle from portions of Kansas into Missouri and southwest Illinois on Wednesday. Not that big of a deal. Overnight Wednesday night, you can see we're bringing more of a cold rain across the Ohio Valley into the Tennessee Valley. I suppose a few snowflakes may begin to mix in if you're in places like Indianapolis, Cincinnati, or Louisville, so we're keeping an eye on that. No significant accumulation here, but maybe a few snowflakes if you look out your window Wednesday evening in those places. Thanksgiving Day, it looks like we're seeing some dynamic cooling as that low starts to wind up across the Mid-Atlantic and the Northeast. The track, and yes, the track is very key here. Where does this low pressure system go? Is it off the coast? That would bring in more cold air, and that would change that rain over to snow. Is it more inland, interior New England and the Northeast? That would bring more warm air in and change that snow over back to rain. So definitely a big deal in the track of the system and its intensity. But right now, it looks like northern Pennsylvania into New York State, into Vermont, New Hampshire, and western Maine, the primary candidate to see at least some wet snowflakes during the day on Thanksgiving. And then that could change over to some heavier snow for Maine, Vermont, New Hampshire, and eastern New York State, maybe even western Massachusetts Thursday night as the atmosphere cools naturally at night, and then that system cranks up there towards eastern Canada. And then we're left with some lake effect snow there for Friday for post-Thanksgiving travel. So a very complex situation. We turn to the national blend of models. Basically, this actually puts all of the models together and gives a mean of what you could see for snowfall forecasts. And right now, it gives the best chance for snow in those areas we highlighted in northern Pennsylvania, New York State, Vermont, New Hampshire, and up into Maine there. And then a lot of the heavier snows with the colder air firmly in place across Ontario, Quebec, and over toward Nova Scotia. So that's what we're seeing as we go through the weekend. And kind of zooming it in for you to see which areas could see the heaviest snows. Yeah, we're talking about the lake effect snow there from Buffalo into Erie, Pennsylvania. Could be seeing potentially several inches worth of snow, snow blowable snow over here. Watertown, New York, definitely a candidate there as well. And then over here into Vermont, New Hampshire, and western and northern Maine. Caribou could see a couple of inches of snow going towards the weekend. And again, it's all about the track of the system. Things can still change over the next couple of days, but just looking at the winter storm severity index right now, not too bullish on travel. So right now, minor travel inconveniences. We'll keep you updated on this across the Northeast as this does get closer. Very complex situation developing there. Let's look at the long range into early December. Sunday, December 1st through Sunday, December 8th. Big trough across the east on the back edge of this system, and a big ridge building with the positive P&A across portions of the western United States. And what this means is areas out west will begin to warm up a little bit here and become more mild during the first week of December. That could provide some snow melt across western Canada there in our cold source region. So that is something to watch out for, especially as we go deeper into the winter. And then here looking at the eastern US, yeah, we're going to see that colder air sticking around, especially in the greens here. That's where we could see temperatures easily 10, 15, 20 degrees below the norm for early December standards, and you know that's cold as we're in early December. Looking at the storm track and the jet stream, notice we have northwest flow in the jet stream from Canada, cross-polar flow into the United States. This is going to lead to a lot more of those Alberta, Saskatchewan clippers from Canada to dive down into the Midwest, the Great Lakes, and the Northeast, bringing additional snow chances. And notice that the storm track here, again, is from Canada into portions of the United States. It's not really picking up a lot of the Pacific moisture or the Gulf of Mexico moisture. Clipper systems don't typically dump a ton of snow, but they definitely can add up over time and give you a lot of snowfall if several clippers move over the same area. And looking here at the first week of December, pretty dry though across the eastern US, but notice near the lakes, the Great Lakes, and then up there toward Hudson Bay in Canada, so Ontario and Quebec, we'll start to see more of those clipper systems into the first week of December. And notice, again, a lot of the Great Lakes seeing lake effect snow. Perfect setup here, warm waters for the lakes and cooler atmosphere above. That creates a temperature inversion, and that's how you get clouds and snowfall in this type of pattern. So definitely keeping an eye on that. Finally, let's go into the second week of December. We're getting close enough. Let's look at the ensemble guidance for this, and notice the positive P&A sticks around across the west with milder and unseasonably warm temperatures. That's with the ridge all the way spiking into the Gulf of Alaska. And then we have the trough continuing here, although it's weakening across eastern Canada and the eastern US. So that tells me the pattern is going to become a little bit more progressive, at least with our temperatures into the second week of December. Those milder temperatures out west will try to shift a little bit further east, at least toward the Mississippi River by the time we get through the 15th of December, still hanging on to below normal temperatures towards the Northeast and the Mid-Atlantic, and a little bit more active weather perhaps near the Gulf Coast as that southern storm track continues to try to show up, but also seeing northwesterly flow aloft still across the east. So clipper systems and lake effect snow will also be a potential issue as we go into the second week of December as well. We'll keep you updated on that. Thanks everyone for watching. Make sure to subscribe to the channel for the latest information right at your fingertips. Turn on the post notification bell so you are notified for future videos on this channel. And I hope you will come back to watch more videos here on Weather on the Go. And looking here, again, make sure to press the like button down below. It definitely helps out more than you know. Leave any comments, questions, and concerns below. We'll get to those after the video. And I hope everyone has a terrific rest of their Tuesday out there.